Positions clinched. 9 more teams guaranteed their playoff places during a busy midweek in MLS. For those whose fate was yet to be decided, the penultimate weekend of the regular season offered further clarity. And that's where we focus our attention, starting in the West with the Texas Derby.
A Halloween hoedown between rivals with different prospects. FC Dallas a point away from the playoffs.
Ryan Holland's head has given FC Dallas a late lead. Plucked down the air and in.
Houston out of form. And a defeat away from elimination. Would this derby day offer a trick or treat?
Off the volley, oh, what a hit! Welcome to Dallas!
Commentary comes from David Prutton and Phil Blacker.
It will come through for Franco Jara, able to spin and strike it and pull Marco Maric into action.
It does bobble up, doesn't it? I think it does really well to get it back and on target. Maric, though, not overly troubled.
Here's Ferreira trying to find Ricarte. Announced himself in MLS with that wonderful goal against the Dynamo on his first start for Dallas back in September. Deep cross, which Barrios was able to return, and then launching himself at it to turn it in is Franco Jara. Dallas's early dominance is rewarded by their top scorer.
There's many things, Michael Barrios, but overly tall is not one of them. Free header at the back post. Lundqvist has no idea where he's gone. And all you ask of your centre forward is, can you be in the right place at the right time where the breakdown of the ball's going to be? Jara is exactly there.
Can Lundqvist make amends, trying to size up the cross? But a really useful ball in for Darwin Quintero.
I think he's actually trying to get it back across goal, just mistimes it with the side of his head.
Now Reynolds well advanced again. Plenty to try and aim for in the middle. Leaves it for Ricarte, and he will clip in the cross. Brilliant ball. And Fafa Pico is there to make full advantage of it. And they're sprinting towards the playoffs as it stands.
It's a defensive Halloween horror show so far, isn't it? Both full-backs, no idea at all where their opposite number is. It's a fantastic ball, and it's a good point-blank header from Fafa Pico. From a team that looked comfortable a minute ago, they look extremely comfortable now, don't they?
Well, Franco Jara looking to take advantage here, in on goal, and he's missed it. A fraction away, but would have backed himself to score there, and had it gone to 3-0, that surely would have been the 3 points. In towards Ramirez, and coming in behind him to have a go was Bizarma there.
Looks like John Nelson just gets himself back into a defensive position just to make sure that the shot doesn't go goalwards.
Yeah, just a little reminder there for FC Dallas, because Houston get one back and that could change everything. Dallas have worked this well towards Franco Jara, and all sorts of space behind him for Ricarte. How's he missed that one with the goal gaping? Well, that should have wrapped it up.
Just trying to be way too clever, wasn't he, Ricarte? Looking for the chip.
Just trying to keep it tight and then look to profit maybe from opportunities such as this. Fafa Pico to set the seal on a super derby day for FC Dallas, where they've taken everything available to them, the season series and their spot in the playoffs. And Fafa Pico has the final say in the scoring deep into stoppage time. Started deep inside his own half. It is the last kick of the contest.
It feels great. You know, the team and the club has gone through a lot of adversity, but I have to give so much credit to these guys and their character and their resilience to just have the last 2 weeks that they've shown. making the playoffs was the first and primary objective, and then the second one after that is, can we earn a home playoff game, and our sights are set on that now.
The Colorado Rapids started the weekend in a playoff spot thanks to points per game, while the Sounders were still in with a theoretical Supporters' Shield chance. It was the Rapids who went in front, Andre Shinyashiki 11 minutes in, rounding off a fluent team move from a Sam Vines cross. "11 minutes later, though, Seattle drew level. Christian Roldan's cross awkwardly turned home by Jordan Morris. As the game approached half-time, Colorado, who hadn't won an MLS game since their return to action, grabbed what would turn out to be a crucial second. Keegan Rosenberry with a sweet strike after a corner was only half cleared. His first goal in over a year. And 15 minutes from time, the Rapids made sure of the win. Cole Bassett's header meaning that Seattle lose their place at the top of the West, and Colorado are still in control of their destiny.
Colorado's win meant their Rocky Mountain rivals, Real Salt Lake, would be out of playoff contention if they lost away to an LA Galaxy side under the interim charge of Dominic Kinnear. The Galaxy had to win to avoid elimination themselves, so when Giancarlo Gonzalez headed home after 18 minutes, the joy was palpable. Despite dominating for the remainder of the first half, the Galaxy couldn't strengthen their position before the break. Yoni Gonzalez was thwarted by Andrew Putner. Shortly after the restart, Giancarlo Gonzalez returned to his defensive duties. His acrobatics denying Corey Baird an equaliser, though David Bingham's faint touch on the ball may have brought Gonzalez just enough time to save the day. Having preserved their lead, the Galaxy did eventually extend it. Christian Pavon has been a revelation in 2020, and it was summed up by the nature of his 10th MLS goal of the campaign. Staring the season's end in the face, Real Salt Lake rallied, but Douglas Martinez's late header was nothing more than a consolation as RSL failed to reach the playoffs for the third time in 6 seasons.
The Portland Timbers were already sure of a playoff spot, while the Vancouver Whitecaps had to win to keep up any realistic qualification hopes. It was Portland who threatened first, Pablo Bonilla with the cross, and centre-half Laris Mabiala with the shot. Evan Bush made the save. Vancouver had failed to score in 2 of their last 3 games, but knew that they needed to be positive here, and Freddie Montero lobbed towards goal from Lucas Cavallini's cross, but Diego Chara was able to clear. The latest Cascadia matchup would ultimately be decided just after the hour. Jimmy Chara with his 4th goal of the season, a sharp finish from a Jorge Villafana cross. It was a tight game, and the closest that Vancouver came to an equaliser was 10 minutes from time. Cavallini from Ali Adnan's cross, and Steve Clark making the save. The Caps now need a miracle, while Portland move to the top of the West.
The first of the Eastern Conference fixtures involved Nashville, only the 6th expansion side in MLS history to clinch a playoff berth in their debut season. At home to playoff-chasing Chicago, Alex Muyl passed up the opportunity to give Gary Smith's side an early lead. Having scored goals on a regular basis in USL over the previous 2 seasons, Nashville striker Daniel Rios had begun to make his mark at the highest level. His 28th minute opener was his 4th goal in his last 5 MLS home appearances. Chicago knew that their playoff destiny would not be decided here, but any points they could take from Tennessee would certainly ease the pressure ahead of their final 2 fixtures. Boris Sekulic's equaliser just before half-time was a welcome bonus. With only 2 minutes left of the match, 1 point almost turned into 3 for the Fire. Substitute Elliot Collier the width of a post away from snatching a late win for Rafael Wickey's side, who now have 2 games to prolong their season.
A must-win game for both the 2018 MLS Cup champions Atlanta and FC Cincinnati. Victory would keep either team alive in the race for the postseason. Defeat would mean there was no chance of going further. An early goal was always going to be crucial, and it was the home side who grabbed it. Adam Jahn from Jurgen Damm's cross, 8 minutes in. That seemed to settle Atlanta nerves, and after 26 minutes, they had a second goal. John Gallagher fouled clumsily by Kendall Waston, and the Argentine Marcelino Moreno signed in September as a designated player, and without a goal in his first 4 MLS games, stepping up to take the penalty. His execution was perfect. Cincinnati have scored only 11 goals in the league this season, the fewest of anyone by some distance, and so they were never likely to come roaring back. Brad Guzan's save from Brandon Vasquez just before half-time, but that was as close as they came, and in fact it was the home team who could have stretched their lead. Eric Kubo Torres narrowly wide from Gallagher's cross. Cincinnati hopes extinguished. Atlanta head to Columbus on decision day.
The Philadelphia Union.
Montreal at the
What a duke that was.
On the verge of a first ever piece of silverware.
What a save!
A huge step towards the supporter shield for the Philadelphia Union.
They were at the playoff-bound Columbus Crew,
Santos! Sensational!
where a win would all but seal the deal. Sam Parkin and Dan Roebuck are your commentators.
This is Alain. Oh, it's a decent looking ball in, and the header from Zardes should have been 1-0 from close range. How on earth did he miss?
He gets a clear look at the delivery, sees it all the way onto his head and just clips the top of the crossbar.
Sergio Santos wins it against Mensah. Shabilko calling for it inside the penalty area. It might fall for Aronson, just too far in front of him, but he recovers to chase it down. Up against Valenzuela. Bezo. Montero. Bezo again! Eloy Room has to stretch to get to that, and it may well have just touched the outside of the post.
Just grazes his fingertips and kisses the outside of the post. Would have been a brilliant goal.
Valenzuela's on the move on the left-hand side, and Bezo watches it well. Olivier Bezo finds Glesnes. It's a dangerous-looking ball, and it's the Crew that will win it back. This is Etienne Jr. Valenzuela inside the penalty area. The full-back is in an advanced position. Jamero Montero wanted it to bounce. This is Harrison Arfel. Thought about curling it in, and eventually the shot finds the corner. Brilliantly done, Jose Artur. It's his second goal of the season, and it's only his second in 106 appearances.
Well, it's a brilliant finish when it comes, and what the Crew do exceptionally well here is keep the ball alive in the final third. And credit to the midfield player. Good strike, finds that far corner.
This is Shabilko, now it's with Aronson, up against Artur, still Brendan Aronson, now it's with Elliott to turn away from Pedro Santos. Aronson once again has to stretch, low ball in here, hits the post, a follow-up, and it'll be forced home. Big opportunity for the Philadelphia Union.
Wagner on the left-hand side picks out Shabilko. He's really unfortunate. I think it's a decent attempt.
Sergio Santos, oh, he's got there and tripped, surely by Mensah. Well, Alan Chapman says, what can I do? He's got goal side, and he's gone down. And this is a chance for the Union to get back on terms.
Mensah makes a really poor challenge. It's a 100% penalty.
Montero against Room, puts it in, makes no mistake, sends the keeper the wrong way, and the Union are back on terms. Bedoya just about control. Sergio Santos waits. Shabilko forward as well to the edge of the area. Decent looking shot from Elliott. Save from Room.
There's been a number of occasions throughout the game where midfield runners have not been picked up. Elliott's effort is a decent one in the end, and it's a difficult spell for the Crew, and a real test of their character now, obviously with bigger fish to fry in the weeks ahead.
In comes the corner, ricochets around. Oh, that's really good goalkeeping once again. It's Sergio Santos that got more than a poke to that. It was forceful, but room equal to it. Union on top, Crew under pressure. Here is Diaz to race forward for Columbus Crew. Nemeth is calling for it, and it comes towards Nemeth. Oh, yes! How about that? Wonderful ball from the right-hand side, and a super finish from the substitute. It may well have been his first touch. He'd only been on the pitch for 43 seconds, but he manages to get onto the end of this deep cross from Diaz to steer into the net. Bendik came and got nothing, and Crew lead.
Diaz puts in a brilliant ball. It's good movement around the far post, but I'm sorry, Bendik is going to be ever so disappointed with that.
Well, the Union have had 18 attempts to the Crew's 7, but look like they're going to suffer defeat here unless Shabilko's header! What a save! Wonderful ball in, goal bound. Shabilko does brilliantly, but Room does better. Bezo helps win it back. Jamiro Montero towards Burt, and it comes, and Elliott's shot is well saved by Room again. Terrific stop. And Jim Curtin will have to wait to get his hands on that Supporters' Shield trophy. They will have to win their final game. The champagne is on ice for now as the Crew get the better of the Union by 2-1.
Proud of the effort of our players, and that we played a very good game. So a lot of positives to take from the performance, but at the end of the day, to not come away with a result tonight is a little bit unfair, but this is the reality of our sport.
Philadelphia's defeat left the door open for Toronto to draw level in the Supporters' Shield race, a huge chance for a team that had lost its last 2 matches. Inter Miami were keen to stay in the playoff hunt, and they took the lead 3 minutes before half-time. Blaise Matuidi's first MLS goal. To Toronto's credit, they came out for the second half and found a way. Ayo Akinola controlling Patrick Mullin's cross and beating John McCarthy 10 minutes after the break. The home team had the momentum, and it was no surprise to see Alejandro Pozuelo driving them on. His effort from range desperately close. But Inter Miami have brought real quality into the club, and after Matuidi had grabbed a goal, Gonzalo Higuain came within millimetres of putting them in front and giving the Union a large helping hand. Rodolfo Pizarro unable to score from the rebound. With 6 minutes remaining, and with Philadelphia fans watching on ever more nervously, Toronto got the break that they needed. Ben Sweat penalised for his foul on Richie Larea, and Pozuelo with the chance to win the game for the home team. Sweat baffled by the decision. It was a nerveless pressure penalty, and one that keeps TFC in that Supporters' Shield hunt on decision day when they head to the Red Bulls, hoping that, yet again, it could be their year.
With both New York sides already guaranteed their playoff places, the priority was securing home advantage, or at least trying to avoid the initial knockout round. In the pouring rain at Yankee Stadium, NYCFC took an 11th minute lead through Tati Castellanos. As the conditions improved, so did the New York Red Bulls, who equalised within 6 minutes via the boot of Brian White, who scored for the 3rd time in 4 games. The Red Bulls knew anything less than victory would end their prospects of a top 4 finish and home advantage in the playoffs. The way in which they went in front shortly before half-time showed a fierce determination to stay in the hunt. The scruffiest of build-ups, coupled with the luckiest of deflections, saw Christian Cáceres make it 2-1 to the visitors. Any hopes of taking that advantage with them to the locker room were dashed less than 4 minutes later by Gary Mackay-Steven, who levelled for NYCFC with his first league goal in 14 months. The lead changed hands again early in the second half in emphatic fashion. Alexander Ring has always had a penchant for the spectacular. Unlike the first half, NYCFC were in no mood to relinquish their advantage this time around. Another memorable finish, this time from Castellanos, made it 4-2 to the home team. The final flourish from Castellanos was yet to come, not before a David and Goliath-style mismatch involving Maxi Morales and Tim Parker. Conceding 11 inches in height to Parker, Morales still made life difficult for the Red Bulls defender, who couldn't avoid conceding a penalty. And with 6 minutes left, Castellanos completed his first career hat-trick to seal NYCFC's biggest ever MLS win over their Hudson River rivals.
The New England Revolution was sure of their post-season place, and they hosted DC United, whose 3 consecutive wins had revived their own hopes. It would turn out to be a wild game at Gillette Stadium, and it was the visitors who took the lead 22 minutes in. Yamil Assad from an Edison Flores pass. And Chad Ashton's team looked favourite to extend their winning run 4 minutes later. Griffin Yao this time reacting better than anyone to the fallout from Assad's free kick. 4 minutes after that, though, and we started to realise that we could be in for a special game. Russell Knaus fouled Adam Buxa in the penalty area, an ill-judged challenge to say the least, and that gave Carles Hill the chance to pull one back. His spot kick hit the post, but Buxa was there to smash home the rebound. 2-1, but DC United continued to threaten. Flores into a promising position. Matt Turner making the save. Ashton's team held the lead at half-time, but the Revs roared out in the second half, and 9 minutes into it, they had their equalising goal. Tejon Buchanan's cross turned into his own net by Knaus. 13 minutes after that, Buchanan was involved again as he teed up Teal Bunbury to put New England in front with a simple finish. That would all have been dramatic enough, but we had a grandstand climax to round off a game for the ages. Gelman Rivas on as a substitute, making it 3-3 from another Flores assist, despite New England's protestations. And 6 minutes from time, it was Bunbury who won it for Bruce Arena's team. Bill Hamid pushing away Gustavo Bo's shot, and the striker pouncing dramatically. They go to the Union next week, DC play Montreal, and must win and hope that other things go their way.
That DC defeat, combined with Inter Miami losing, meant a Montreal win would have been enough to clinch their place in the postseason. Easier said than done against an Orlando side with a striker in form. Daryl Dike's third goal in as many games gave the Lions a 39th minute lead. They almost doubled it late in the second half through Tesho Akindele. Even in the absence of star players Nani and Chris Mueller, Orlando was still too strong for Montreal, who needed a Clement Diop save to stop another Akindele effort. The Impact goalkeeper was kept on his toes again a few minutes later as Orlando launched another attack. Substitute Huan denied his first MLS goal. Having kept them at bay, the home side almost snatched a point, but Bojan found Diop's counterpart Pedro Gallese in equally fine form. A playoff place still in the balance for Thierry Henry and the Impact.
Montreal's fate will go to decision day then, with 2 playoff places in the Eastern Conference still up for grabs and 5 teams still fighting for them. The Supporters' Shield will most likely be decided between Philadelphia and Toronto, with Columbus still in with an outside chance.
In the West, Portland are also not entirely out of the Supporters' Shield running. With points per game now determining league positions, Colorado and San Jose currently occupy the final 2 remaining postseason spots ahead of Vancouver and the Galaxy.
We leave you with double derby demolitions.
Tati Castellanos! Castellanos steps into it and he does have the hat-trick.
New York was most certainly blue, while Dallas reigned supreme in Texas.
1-0 for FC Dallas. Fafana! Fafa with the shot, it's in it. It's 3-0, and they're going to the playoffs.
This copyrighted broadcast of Major League Soccer may not be retransmitted, reproduced, or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Major League Soccer.